Hey everyone, how's it going? Total Level here with a video series where I go down memory lane and talk about the JRPGs I grew up with for various consoles. And for today, I want to start with the Game Boy Advance. I want to start here because the GBA was the first console that was bought for me as a gift for Christmas, as you see here. Other consoles we had were family shared in my household, and while I still shared the Game Boy Advance with my family, it was bought for me, right, and so I got to play the most out of it. It also allowed me to discover new and exciting games for the system, as the Game Boy Advance was quite the JRPG machine. It makes sense too, as the Game Boy Advance was like having a Super Nintendo on the go, or at least a close equivalent of that. Now, I'm going to talk about the JRPGs I owned as a kid, rather than the ones that I played. I want to do this as later in a future video. I do want to talk about the JRPGs I rented or borrowed as a kid. So while I played games like Golden Sun and Advance Wars, I never owned them, so I won't talk about them in this video. I also think talking about the games you had as a kid has more meaning, since most, if not all, were gifts, right? So I'm going to throw in some jokes and mini skits throughout for fun, so with all that said, let us begin! And we start with the very first game I opened with my Game Boy Advance SP, and that was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. And of course, I named my character Butts. Now, I think this game gets more flack than it deserves, as it is a very fun strategy RPG. It does start off slow with a weird tutorial of sorts where you're having a snowball fight at school with your teacher monitoring it. Tutorials like these do make me laugh a bit, as they talk about things like how after each turn you must decide which way you will face. Just makes me laugh thinking like if you face another direction when it's not your turn, you would get in trouble or something. Is there anything happening outside? Hey, what do you think you're doing? You turn when it's not your turn, go to jail! Well, guess I'll learn not to turn anymore. This sucks. Anyways though, once you get past the opening, the game opens up pretty quickly, and this is where some have issues with the story. In Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, you live in the world of Evilis. This is a world that Square has used a bit before with games like Vagrant Story, the Final Fantasy Tactics games, and with the two Final Fantasy XII games, the PS2 and DS sequel that they put out for Final Fantasy XII. When heading home with your friends, one of your friends brings over a book for everyone to read along with your younger brother who is sick. After you read the book that's in a language you do not understand, everyone goes home, and when you fall asleep, next time you wake up, you're in a fantasy Evilis that's a recreation of your friend Mute's memories from Final Fantasy games. The main character you play as, March, or Butts in my case, wants to go back to the real world as he knows this isn't real, but your friends don't, since all their hopes and dreams have come true in this fantasy world. I personally think the story is solid for what it is, as you have two side plots you can do, which creates different outcomes, so there's replay value there. Just know that for one of them you have to beat 300 missions, so yeah, have fun with that. The second and big reason why this game gets flack from some people is the judge system. The idea is each map or each kind of fight you have with your opponents has a judge with a set rule set. Like, say you can't use any fire type magic in that match. If you do, you will get a penalty, which is like a yellow or red card, and that character that violated the rules may be put in jail. Now, yes, this could have been thought of better, as sometimes the rules and punishments can be a bit too severe. Like, sometimes you might have a rule that say you have to move at least 2 spaces each turn, and you may be caught in a situation where you simply can't move 2 spaces or at all, right? And it sucks when that happens, but I don't mind the judge system, as most of the time, you know, it's not that bad, and it's a nice change to really rethink your strategy in fights. Along with, later you do get cards that you're able to change or remove rules from a fight, which is nice. Overall, I think Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is still lots of fun and is a great game to have on the Game Boy Advance. I may do a deeper dive into this game later, as it's one of my personal favorites for the handheld. Next, we have Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls, so we'll talk about Final Fantasy 1 first, with my characters being named Hero, Punch, Heal, and Vivi. They're a warrior, monk, white mage, and black mage, and yeah, really enjoyed this game, still enjoy it to this day. Story, very basic, you know, you're the 4 heroes of light, where the prophecies have told that 4 heroes with 4 crystals will be the ones to save the world, and starts off very simple, where the king asks you to find his daughter, Princess Sarah, right, and kind of takes off from there. Now, this version is based off of the WonderSwan Color remakes of these games, as a few features are missing because those WonderSwan ones had difficulty options. These ones just have, you know, it's kind of known, or people think that's defaulted to easy mode, which for me it's fine, because, you know, a game like this, handheld and everything, it's nice to have just a casual experience here and there, right? And so I don't mind easy mode, but a lot of people think that just because you get a lot more money and experience early on, especially you have money at the beginning, right? Items cost way less, so it's easier to upgrade and buy weapons and things like that, right? And yeah, I'm not sure to, like, I'm guessing this version also fixed the issue that the first game had, because the original one on NES, the whole thing was, depending on which order you put your party in, enemies would attack them more or less frequently. Like, your top first person would be attacked like 75% of the time, the second person would be attacked 50% of the time, and the last 2 would be attacked 25% of the time. So I think they would have fixed that by then, but yeah. Now, because I have the Pixel remasters, I'm not sure if I'll go back and play this version too much, right? But still, at the time, it was really cool to have and experience these early Final Fantasy titles for the first time as a kid. And then with Final Fantasy 2, so this one is a lot more interesting, because I remember as a kid I enjoyed it. Now, part of me might think that because, you know, Final Fantasy 2 is widely known as the worst game in the whole series, but because this was a Christmas present and everything, and, you know, I didn't really know much about reviews at the time, because grew up pretty poor, we didn't have, you know, computers or internet or anything like that at home, right? So a lot of the times my reviews would come from watching like the Electric Playground, right, and Reviews on the Run, so didn't really get a whole lot of experience of knowing what other people said about these games, right? And so be interesting for me to try and replay this, because even though I remember liking it as a kid, I don't remember anything about Final Fantasy 2. The big thing with this game, though, is its unique way of leveling up, because you don't get experience at all through this game. The way you kind of get more powerful is through your actions in combat. Like, if you attack a lot, your strength will go up. If you take damage, defense, health, things like that would go up. And it's interesting with this game because I know at least for the original you could exploit this a lot because you could attack your own party members and just get ridiculously strong that way. You know, and yeah, it's an interesting way of leveling up, though. I'm not sure any games, if other games have this mechanic, if they would be able to master it, because that'd be very difficult to kind of master of, you know, that balance of having different attacks and everything like that to level up, right? And you can't expect players to play a certain way. You have to kind of adapt and figure out how a player may play a game like this, right? So yeah, it's interesting, and yeah, let me know what you guys all think about Final Fantasy II, because again, I know this is widely regarded as the worst one in the entire series, but yeah, again, as a kid, I enjoyed it, so I would have to go back and replay because, like I said, I don't really remember much about this game. Next up, we have Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. So yeah, I don't know where the manual or box is for this game. I'm sure I still have it. When I moved in 2021, I found a bunch of Game Boy Advance boxes and manuals just randomly, but I haven't found all of them. I think I forgot to mention that with the Final Fantasy 1 and 2 that I don't know where the manual is, so I probably put up like a little text thing for that one, but yeah, this was such a cool Christmas present, as my mom got me this as I just asked for Mario games for Christmas, and yeah, this was one of them, so fantastic game, and I think this is probably my favorite series of the, you know, Mario RPG universe, right? Because you have Super Mario RPG, you have Paper Mario, right? But Mario and Luigi, why I like this one so much, I think, not just the humor and the amazing sprite work that these games have with really great animations, but I love the combat in these games because you're, you know, jumping to dodge attacks, you're doing these partner attacks, right, where you're timing different button presses, and yeah, just really enjoy it. And game's super fun, funny, charming, everything like that. Though these Mario and Luigi games, they love beans, because so much of these games involve beans, and this game, you know, the whole idea is like this queen comes over to the Mushroom Kingdom and steals Princess Peach's voice, right? So you go on an adventure to get her voice back from these bean creatures. It made me kind of obsessed with beans and wanted to buy everything that just had beans in it. But regardless of all that, super fun. It is a very easy game up until you get to the final boss. The final boss is quite something else, but yeah, throughout the game, especially if you level up just attack, you can just power through the game pretty easily, but still super fun. Really enjoy Mario and Luigi games. Really excited that we're getting another one this year for the Switch, right? So yeah, really looking forward to that one later on. Next, we have The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past plus 4 Swords. So yeah, you know what to do. You have to get ready, you have to get angry, because I have included Zelda in a JRPG talk, so be sure to get your keyboards and face ready to smash your face into it to let me know how much Zelda is not a JRPG. But this is my video, so yeah. Anyways, Link to the Past, fantastic Zelda game. It is just an amazing experience, right? Is, you know, because on the Super Nintendo I never really got to play this too much, right? I did play it as a kid, but you know, we never had it growing up. I only played it at a friend's house briefly, so this was my first real dive into the game. And yeah, super fun, amazing dungeons, love the light dark worlds and everything like that. Though there was a situation that did piss me off because as a kid, there were certain items that I didn't really know how to get. It definitely made one of my friends kind of twitchy and everything of like, hey, you got this far and you still haven't gotten these items, and then he took the game from my hands and wouldn't give me hints of how he got these different items and all of that, and then gave it back to me, and I deleted that save right in front of him because I'm like, do not do that ever again. I want to experience this myself. I'll get these items later on my own. If I want these items, I would ask you about them, right? So, yeah, I was not too happy, but after I started over and played through the game myself and didn't share my save with anyone after that, it was just a really fun game, and yeah, one that I love going back to. And then we get to Four Swords. Right, you need friends to play this. And, well, I did clone myself, but because I am one of the most socially awkward people in the world, we never talked to each other. It was one of the best days of my life. Anyways, as a kid though, played a lot Four Swords, as a lot of us during school got this game for Christmas, so a lot of the times we would go to school like 30 minutes to an hour early before classes started, and we would play Four Swords so much. It was just so fun, the competitive nature along with being a co-op, right? Because essentially it's a co-op game, but you're gathering rupees, and at the end it kind of tallies everyone's score up, sort of like Mario 3D World, right? So really fun, really cool, having all the link cables just together in this like tight little space, everyone looking over your shoulder. It was just a really fun game, fun experience, and yeah, Four Swords just really cool. And then the next Zelda adventure I have on the Game Boy Advance as a kid was the Minish Cap. So yeah, don't know what happened to the box. I have the game, the manual, my strategy guides, but I don't know what I did with the box. But anyways, I love this Zelda. It's a highly underrated one in my opinion, one that more people I think needs to check out, made by Capcom, which Capcom has done quite a few Zelda games, including, you know, Four Swords and everything like that. But yeah, just a really fun Zelda game, you know, a lot of great animation. I, again, just love the sprite work of these games, and it's, you know, not super hard, not super complicated though. You do get like these kinstone pieces that's kind of RNG based as to what would be unlocked and everything for you, but still, yeah, just a super fun and kind of chill game that, you know, one of the few Zeldas where Ganondorf isn't your main bad guy, right? And it's a lot of fun. It's one that I highly recommend people check out, especially now that it's on Nintendo Switch Online and everything like that. It is just a really cool game. I love playing this. I should stream this at some point because I think that'd be fun just to play through and see what I can remember and what I can't, because I have such bad memories with so many things. But yeah, it's just nice Zelda game to pick up and play. We're almost done, as now we're on to Pokemon games with Sapphire version here. So while people may argue that this game has too much water, to me, what makes this game stand out is you have both a mom and dad. Not only is this, I think, the only Pokemon game where you have a dad, but this may be the only JRPG in history where the main character has both their parents alive and well. Could be history in the making, I don't know, but anyways, you know, as a kid, loved Pokemon. I still love Pokemon to this day, even though my love for it may have died down a little bit over the years. I still love the games. I love the, you know, different Pokemon creatures you get to find and discover, and this one, you know, like, I thought it was quite underrated. You know, you have some pretty cool gym battles. The Elite Four, I will say, is very difficult in this game. It's probably still to this day the hardest Elite Four you'll ever face in any of these Pokemon or mainline Pokemon games, right? And but still really fun, and I'm glad they put instructions in my running shoes, because let me tell you, I struggle with shoes my life. I don't know how to put these things on. I don't know how other people do it. And yeah, apparently you can run by holding the B button. Whoa! I think I was lied to. Well, Pokemon, thanks for lying to me. But no, honestly, like, Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Gen 3, I think was quite underrated, pretty fun game, and yeah, I quite enjoy it, and enjoyed the remake they did on 3DS years later too. And the final one here, Pokemon FireRed, so again, don't know where the box manual or the wireless kind of link cable is. I'm not sure what it was called, I forget, but yeah, they made a wireless kind of link cable where you could connect with people without actually touching a cable, right? But didn't work really well. I remember that you had to be only like 5 feet apart and had to directly face the other person with one of those in their Game Boy Advances, right? And I think you could only connect to one at a time, so if you had 4 people, I don't think you could all have a wireless one, right? So, but I know I still have it, I just don't know where. But anyways, Pokemon FireRed, I love this remake. I mean, red, blue, yellow, like, there's so much nostalgia with those games, right? So them doing a remake with FireRed and Leaf Green, just so cool, and having a lot of those quality of life improvements that makes this version the version I love to play a lot more than the original, though original still has that nostalgia factor for me, so yeah, you have that, but just really cool, and gain different types of Pokemon in different areas early on too, where if you pick Charmander as your starter, it's not nearly as difficult to get through to Brock at first, right? Because you have Pokemon like Mankey at the beginning and things like that, so makes it a whole lot easier, and yeah, just so much to love about these early Pokemon games. They're just super fun, casual, and again, that sprite work, man, it's just so appealing, and I think that's why I just love Game Boy Advance games so much, because I love the Super Nintendo. I love those types of graphics, right, of that pixel art and everything, and the sprite work, and so getting a lot of these games like this, yeah, and I had to have the remake of, FireRed, right? So, yeah, really cool to have this. And so, those are my childhood JRPGs that I grew up with. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below your JRPGs you grew up with on the Game Boy Advance, and just other childhood memories you had with this system. I would love to hear all your thoughts about it, all the games you grew up with, everything like that. I love JRPGs so much, so yeah, I like to focus on those games so much. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed going down memory lane with me on a lot of these games, and yeah, I'll see you next time for more of these childhood JRPGs I grew up with videos, along with other ones I do on my channel. Thanks everyone, have a great rest of your day. Oh, screw this! I'm getting some food! Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, or If you just want to see any of my skits and then nothing else and leave the video, that's fine too. Thanks everyone, take care.